Yeah, it's great to be here. I want to thank also the Cosmoverse guys for organizing this. Pretty amazing that even in the bear market, right? This is a bigger event than last year. So it just goes to show how much is going on in the Cosmos ecosystem. So I'm going to talk about the ICF, the Interchain Foundation. Probably many of you have heard of it. At the same time, I think we've could often do a better job at communicating what exactly is going on. So I'm going to try to do that here. So just briefly about myself. So I've been working in crypto since about 2013, but I've also been involved in sort of this Cosmos Tendermint world for a long time. So back in 2015 and 16, I was working for Ares Industries, actually together with Ethan Buckman. He was an engineer there, and that was like the first company to build on Tendermint before the vision of Cosmos existed. And then in 2017, I joined, the company All in Bits, although that was also confusing because it was sort of, it never used that brand, right? It was basically Tendermint. As a COO, this was, basically when Cosmos got started. And then, I left and I started Course One the year afterwards. And, that's still the main thing I'm doing. But I also joined the Foundation Council of the FC, or of the Interchain Foundation in 2020. And then I became president of the Interchain Foundation in a few months ago. So what is the Interchain Foundation? Right, the Interchain Foundation is a Swiss foundation. And a Swiss foundation means that it's an organization, legally registered organization in Switzerland, but it's not like a corporation, right? It basically, a foundation doesn't have any owners, but it has a mandate. The mandate is pretty broad. It's like to support the development of open decentralized systems and software and the Cosmos network. So it's a broad mandate, and what the foundation needs to do is basically needs to act in accordance with that mandate, and it needs to use its assets in accordance with that. And there is a sort of supervisory body in Switzerland, which is a governmental entity that in the end is responsible that the foundation does that. So let's say if the foundation didn't do that, they could also go in and say, okay, we're going to change the people running the foundation to make sure that the funds are used appropriately. So it is a fairly fairly regulated, like a somewhat regulated thing, including you have to do annual audits and some things like that. And of course, the Swiss Foundation, probably many of you are aware, but the Swiss Foundation's basically been the main vehicle that projects have used to bootstrap crypto ecosystem. So the first team that did that was the Ethereum Foundation back in, I guess, 2014. And then the Interchain Foundation was one of the earliest ones to follow. But, you have Interchain Foundations there, Ethereum Foundation, the Web3 Foundation from the Polkadot ecosystem, Solana Foundation, Cardano Foundation. So many of the largest crypto foundations, most of them are, that's exact same legal setup. So Interchain Foundation history, right? So it was established in 2017 and then conducted this Atom fundraiser. So that basically meant people would send Bitcoin and Ethereum to an address controlled by the Interchain Foundation. And then, basically a recommended Genesis distribution was published where, people would receive atoms for donating their Bitcoin and Ethereum to the Interchain Foundation. And then the foundation basically received those Bitcoins and Ethereum that were originally sent, as well as around 10% of the atom supply. And basically what the foundation, the foundation has been using those funds to be the primary entity funding, the development of the Cosmos ecosystem, or at least of the core technologies of the Cosmos ecosystem. Most of this development is not done at the Interchain Foundation. There's a little bit done there, but most of it is done in other organizations and supported through grants by the Interchain Foundation. Briefly, so the Foundation Council is something similar to like the board of directors. It's basically the kind of people who are ultimately responsible that the foundation is doing its job. and they're also like liable for that. So, you know, if that didn't happen, you know, they're personally liable potentially. And yeah, so currently this is me, then Ethan Buckman, who, you know, everyone knows here, and then Fernando Pedone, who's a computer science professor in distributed systems in Switzerland. And we have been in the process of adding some new Foundation Council members and increasing that. You know, we put out a sort of call for applications, and we received a lot of great applications, and we've been going through that, and I think we're going to sort of have some news there soon and actually add a few new people. Now, one thing that's also a little bit strange probably, but you know, it kind of makes sense given how the foundation structure is that the Foundation Council elects itself, right? Because there's no owners, right? So there's no, you're not like shareholders that elect the council. So yeah, the Foundation Council elects the Foundation Council. Yeah, so what does the Interchain Foundation do? So you can divide the work sort of primarily into three big buckets. You know, one is supporting the core development of the Interchain stack. And, you know, I'll talk a little bit more about that and what the things are that we're funding there. Then the other thing is, okay, promoting the adoption of the stack by developers. So getting people to use the Cosmos SDK, IBC, all of those things, you know, in a variety of different ways. And then I would say also sort of driving forward this vision, the Cosmos vision, right? The Cosmos, the vision of sovereign blockchains that are interoperable. And, you know, I think the app chain idea was really a Cosmos idea, right? That was in the Cosmos white paper, I think, explained and advocated for the first time. And of course, today we're seeing that vision get traction in many different ecosystems. So in Ethereum with L2s, this app chain thing is coming up a lot, right? We have like the OP, optimistic stack that's doing that. Then, you know, in Polygon, they're doing things in that direction. In Avalanche, they have the subnets, which is very, very similar. So we really have seen that idea, you know, get a lot of traction, and that idea, like many other ideas in crypto, have come out of the Cosmos ecosystem. So yeah, so the Interchain Foundation. So the executive team is led by Maria over there, right? So she's the, so there's, besides the Foundation Council, there's the board of managers, what was it? Something like that, which is basically sort of the executive, right? So that is, and then, you know, there's a bunch of different things. So one is the funding program. I think that is one of the most important things that, or probably the most important thing that the Interchain Foundation does. Is because we give out so much funding to all of these different organizations. That's not easy to do, right? Because who should you fund for a particular project? And are they doing it well? And how much, you know, what should be prioritized in terms of different development priorities? And, you know, are they doing their job well? So this is something that we need to do, and it's not an easy thing to do. We have actually, you know, we are seeking to hire into that team as well. So we've had a job post up for like an ecosystem lead. So if somebody's interested in this, please reach out. You know, we're looking really there for someone who has an understanding of the Cosmos stack, who has like a vision for where Cosmos should go, but, you know, also great skills in terms of project management, relationship management, understanding of the ecosystem. So I think it's a super interesting job, and if you're interested, yeah, reach out. Then some other things is around marketing communications, things like the Cosmos.network website, at Cosmos Twitter handle, things like that, where, you know, we're trying to communicate what Cosmos is to the wider world. And then, you know, there's, of course, operations, finances, stuff like that. And there's also basically one technical team at the Interchain Foundation, which is the IBC team, right? So IBC Go and sort of IBC spec and stuff are developed by a team at the ICF. Maybe just a word here on the history, right? Because the original company, All in Bits, sort of like fell apart. People went to different places. And then at one point, a lot of it ended up at this subsidiary, or like the Interchain Foundation created a subsidiary in Germany called Interchain GmbH. And a lot of development went there. But that has been kind of split up now. So there was a company, Binary Builders, I think they're going to speak as well, that spun out, and they're leading the Cosmos SDK development now. Then we've had some go to informal. That's especially the Tenement and the Cosmos Hub team. So they are kind of led by informal at this point. And then IBC is actually distributed with a bunch of different companies contributing to that. But one of the main ones, and IBC Go, kind of the main implementation in use, is developed at the ICF. Yeah, so these are kind of some of the main things that we have been funding. So by far the main thing is software development. And of course, all of the software development that the ICF is funding, it has to be open source, and it's all sort of aligned with the Interchain vision. So these include things like IBC, the Cosmos SDK, Comet BFT, the Interchain security work, Cosmos Hub maintenance, the Cosmos Hub team, Cosm Wasm, Cosm JS, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other like smaller things that I'm not listing here. So basically all of the kind of core components have primarily been funded. Of course it's changing now with others contributing by the ICF. And there are some other things. So one thing I want to mention is the Builders Program. So the Builders Program, it's operated by Binary Builders. And the Builders Program is basically a sort of support system for new teams that want to come in and build in the Cosmos ecosystem, build on the Interchain stack. So they do things like, give technical advice, help on, advice on legal setup, tokenomics, and where to go. And then there's also the Developer Academy. So this is basically a program for learning how to develop on the Cosmos stack. And I think that has, we've had some people at Course One do it, and they gave great feedback. So I think it's a very, it seems to be a very good program for those who are interested in that. Now it's not working. Oh, there. Okay, so let's talk about the finances briefly. So the current assets of the ICF are like $283 million. So that's great, right? Especially if you consider that in the original fundraiser, we had like, I think 17 million that went into the ICF. So it's great that, after all this work, after all this funding, there's like way more in there right now. If we break this down, around $100 million is in Atoms, so around a third. Around a third of it, 85 million, is in other cryptos. So that's really primarily Bitcoin and Ethereum that are still from the original fundraiser, like money left from that. And then, there's also also around a third is in fiat currency, government bonds, like that kind of thing. So that's the current finances. So the great news is that, the ICF, it remains in a strong position and can continue funding the whole development of the Interchain stack for, many years to come. In terms of the budget, right, 2023 budget, so this year, we're estimating at almost 60 million. And, because of the decrease of the crypto assets and the bear market, we have been we are reducing the budget for next year and estimating that it's going to be around 44 million. And maybe just a few more words on the, so, of course, there's a little bit of a balance, right? Like many foundations might only spend like what they earn on the investment returns because they're trying to have this like infinite horizon. I think that is something that doesn't really make sense in this context, right? Because time is of essence. The world moves fast, and if Cosmos is to be the leading blockchain platform, we have to invest and we have to move fast. And so, the ICF is spending at a rate at like, if everything went the same, it would run out of money. But of course, hopefully the market turns around, and then this will also increase the runway a lot. And in any case, I think, actually, if you look back at the original Cosmos white paper that was published, when the fundraiser was done, all of the core pieces there have been delivered. So I think that's fantastic news, and there's still so much resources and so much we can do to like take all of these things like to the next level. Okay, roadmap. So one of the things we have been engaged in as well more recently is this effort of an Interchain stack roadmap. basically the issue is that, or the situation is that there's a lot of different teams that are developing core parts of the Cosmos stack. This is really unique in crypto. I think the only other ecosystem that's probably similar is the Ethereum ecosystem, where you have different clients, different teams working on it. But in Cosmos also, we have a lot of different teams that get funding also from the ICF or that in other ways work on these parts. And of course, the challenge is like, how do you coordinate all of this? And so the Interchain Stack roadmap has aimed to like bring all these teams together to outline what are their priorities, what are their roadmap, how do they sort of intersect with each other. And yeah, so this has been going on. There has been some calls already where this was presented to the community. And if you're interested in that, like, you just check out maybe the Interchain Twitter account. Yeah, and in addition to this, so tomorrow there's going to be a workshop or roundtable on this Interchain Stack roadmap topic. So it's at 10 a.m. in this Munch meeting room. So if you're interested, just come there and yeah, you can learn more about it. There are some findings already from this whole roadmap process. One is the need to increase the modularity of the stack so that it can be more easily used for a variety of different use cases. So that's one. Then we have the improvement of the developer experience to make it even easier to build on the Interchain stack. And then paying off technical debt so that progress can be even faster in the future. And then, to drive user adoption in sort of value-aligned community. Those are a few of the things that have come out so far, but, this is still ongoing. And this work is also kind of what's flowing into finalizing the 2024 budget, which, we hopefully will be able to do within the next few weeks. So one more thing I want to touch on is the future funding of the Cosmos Hub. So at the moment, there is a draft proposal in the forum that's been put up by Informal Systems in Haifa. These are two of the main teams that are developing like the Cosmos Hub today. And that's basically to have the Cosmos Hub community pool directly fund those teams and that development. And that's in discussion right now. And if people have opinions on that, please go to the forum, add your input. I think that would be super helpful. Personally, I think it would be really powerful to have, the Cosmos Hub, like before we had to talk about Youssef about AA DAO and how it's great to have like this organization that's owned by the Cosmos Hub. I think ultimately, especially to have the core development of the Cosmos Hub controlled and funded by the Cosmos Hub and the governance, I think would be a really powerful thing. And it's definitely where we need to go in the future. And I think if we can do that, it can really become this enormously powerful, decentralized body organization, that moves at a very fast pace. And now, of course, at the ICF, we remain strongly committed to supporting the future of the Cosmos Hub, however the community thinks is best. Yeah, now just the last thing, I think I just want to thank all of you here and everyone who's kind of made all of this progress happen. I think this is really what's really unique in the Interchain ecosystem, in the Cosmos ecosystem, is that there's so many different people, so many different companies, so many different organizations, different ideas that are all driving this forward around this original vision and evolving this vision in different ways. And I think that's how we've ended up with this really decentralized and dynamic ecosystem. And it's just been beautiful to see that evolve. Yeah, so thanks so much. If you have any thoughts, feel free to reach out to me or to Interchain Foundation. And yeah, thanks so much.